YouTube, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the show. What I'm about to show you is one of those holy crap moments in crypto that most people, they won't understand until it's too late. You've seen the headlines about tokenization, about Blackrock, about Ripple, but let me connect the dots for you in a way that's going to make your jaw drop. Here's the punchline. The biggest asset manager on the planet, Blackrock and VanEck, they're now plugged directly into Ripple's ecosystem. Let me say that again. The biggest asset managers on the planet, BlackRock and VanEck, are now plugged directly into Ripple's ecosystem through a move that basically rewires how money flows between traditional finance and crypto. We're talking about tokenized US treasuries, compliant rails, and Ripple's very own stablecoin, RLUSD, all stitched together by one company that keeps showing up in the background. Securitized. That's a name you're going to want to remember. Folks, this isn't a theory. This isn't a pilot. This is live rails. And if you've been holding XRP or paying attention to tokenization, what's happening right now is the playbook that we've been waiting for. Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, we're going to go from the people who planted the seeds years ago to the products that are live today to the pipes that actually make this flow possible. And by the end, you're going to see why Ripple's move with BlackRock's build and VanEck's V-bill is way bigger than just another headline. And it all starts with one man, and that man is Robbie Mitchell, everyone. Now, before we jump into all that, folks, this is exactly why you need a plan. When headlines like this hit, you can't be guessing your next move. You need entries, you need exits, yield routes pre-baked so you're excited and you're not hesitating. If you want that dialed in game plan, check out the link down below. Book a one-on-one call with me. We'll map out your portfolio to moments like this. So when the rails go live, guess what? You're already positioned. Spots are limited, so make sure you grab a spot now. And it all starts with this video, and everyone remembers it. When Ripple showed their hands, when they leaked this in an insight, and everyone zoomed in on that whiteboard. We'll blow it up on the screen for you right here, and you can see Build, Benji, JP Morgan, RLUSD. Everyone was like, what is this? What is going on here? But you know what? We connected the dots. We knew there was a reason that Ripple showed this to you. When Ripple shows you something, they are doing it because there is purpose behind it. Here's another screenshot. And you can see the XRP ledger is highlighted at the top. And they're talking about Goldman Sachs in here, Citi, JP Morgan, and everything being tied in through RLUSD. Well, guess what? Today, we got the answers that we were looking for. We wanted to know why these companies were going to be attending Ripple's Swell event. And I put out the news not too long ago when I said the weeks leading up to Swell, we will start getting an understanding and figure out why these entities, why these companies are sending people to Ripple's Swell event to talk. And today, we got a big one. Listen to this.
Started out by building tokenized treasuries. In order to build institutional grade at Ondo, we started out by building tokenized treasuries. In order to build institutional grade products like OUSG, we really need to work with partners that have a focus on institutional grade standards and 24/7 instant convertibility. So we're really excited to finally be able to bring OUSG to XRP Ledger, the decentralized public blockchain, to continue to build institutional grade cash products alongside Ripple. That's something that a lot of our institutional clients have been really drawn to. It's about routing capital and assets to make a financial system that is ultimately faster, fairer, and more accessible to everyone. Tokenization is not just a pilot or a stepping stone, but actually has real commercial utility today. And we've seen that in the numbers, 200 billion plus in stablecoins, 5 billion plus in tokenized treasuries. And our offerings now between OUSG and RLUSD are used every day, constantly in production. We have real investors instantly minting and redeeming, in many cases, tens of millions of dollars at a single point in time. And this is that watershed inflection point moment.
This is where it all started, everyone. That video, that little video. Now I want to fast forward, or actually, I'm gonna say I want to rewind here. Who remembers this? This is the framework that was put out back in 2018 by Mr. Robert Michnick and Susan Athey. This is when we got our first little hint at what the price of XRP could be. Okay, this was back in 2017, 2018, when Robbie worked at Ripple. He co-authored a crypto valuation framework with Stanford's Susan Athey, you probably heard her name, that basically tried to answer the questions that everyone was hand-waving back then. How do you value these assets without sounding insane? Now, that's not some marketing blog, folks. This is research. Research done through leadership during Ripple's formative years. As we scroll down, you can see the table of contents. You can see they talked about storage, supply, value unit, and how they got to these answers. I want to jump deep down into this thing to give or take page 17 or so, where they start talking about the pricing on Bitcoin, where they believe it's going to be, and the pricing on XRP. And here's what's important, because they believe that Bitcoin's high estimate would be around $93,000 or so. Clearly that was wrong, because we went higher and we are going a lot higher. Why is that interesting? Because when we look at the evaluation and the price on XRP, they have a high number for XRP here sitting around $32. Now, if they were wrong about Bitcoin, most likely they're going to be wrong about, especially with all the adoption. Back then, they didn't have these partnerships, Ripple, that they have now. They definitely didn't have Blackrock back then, because Robbie, the guy who wrote this paper, he is now working for Blackrock from Ripple, okay? He moved to Blackrock to become the head of digital assets. Why does that matter? Very simple, because Blackrock is the largest asset manager in the world. So when the person framing your digital asset strategy has Ripple's DNA baked in, the cultural distance between TradeFi and crypto, it shrinks fast. But here's the non-obvious bit, right? Leaders carry mental models with them. If you wrestled with liquidity, mechanics, on-chain settlement, and cross-border value flow at Ripple, you don't forget that. You don't magically revert to legacy settlement timelines and all of a sudden call it a day. He states down here in this paperwork that this represents the potential value of XRP in present value terms if the XRP success case is realized. I would say at this point, with Ripple securing a partnership with Blackrock, that its success case is going to be realized. With Van Eck, that its success case is going to be realized here, right? And then we move over to March 2024, when Blackrock launched its first tokenized fund here on the Ethereum network. This is very, very important, and this is a huge stepping stone forward, okay? So this was kind of, I would say, their test ground when they got going. Okay, and this was 2024, so not too long ago, about a year ago. So Build, which is BlackRock's tokenized US Treasury fund, it went live on Ethereum with Securitize as the tokenization and transfer agent rail. You can see right here in the opening paragraphs, is BlackRock today unveils its first tokenized fund issued on a public blockchain. It says that the BlackRock USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund, known as Build, will provide qualified investors with the opportunity to earn US dollar yields by subscribing to the fund through the securitized markets. So you got to ask yourself, why securitize, right? Okay. And the reason for that is because they are the adapter that plugs Wall Street's rule books into Web3 pipes. I mean, we're talking about KYC here, AML, whitelisted wallets, transfer restrictions, disclosures, the stuff that makes bankers yawn, but the regulators smile. The reason Ethereum matters here is liquidity gravity. If you want the deepest pool of devs, tooling, and the broad set of integrations, well, you plant on ETH and you speak ERC. Now, the design choice here is sneaky because the smart treasuries the smart contracts here start with the treasuries, right? So is is there a security here, right? That fight with security now yield transport the instrument that's familiar to every risk committee on earth. This isn't numbers go up crossplay. If the institutional on-ramps, a crypto been begging for boring asset and exciting rails. So dot two here is the plumbing. Blackrock mints tokenized treasury, securitized, handles the rails and transfers the agent roles, and Ethereum provides programmability. Your table is set. But that moves us over to this. March 13th, 2025, BlackRock USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund, tokenized by Securitized, has passed over 1 billion in assets under management. 1 billion, everyone. That is huge. They have scaled. We see real assets here, not vapor. Then this is like their major milestone. It starts to get accepted as collateral in real venues. And if you ever traded with collateralized positions, here's the point. Collateral acceptance is the adult swim of finance. It means someone reputable looked at the instrument and they said, yep, we're going to lend against it. We'll margin it. We'll clear it. That is trust formalized, everyone. And you can see since inception, the build ecosystem has grown significantly. Initially launching on Ethereum and then expanded to Aptos, Arbitrum, Avalanche, Optimism, and Polygon with cross-chain interoperability enabled by Wormhole to facilitate seamless and secure token transfers. Where does that name Wormhole sound familiar, folks? Well, they're working with Ripple as well. And then we get the major news that came out, and Brad Garlinghouse was all over it, okay? This is the clip and save moment for everyone. I want you to frame this out. Ripple plus Securitize, they announced a smart contract off-ramp that lets holders of BlackRock's build and VanEck's V-Bill exchange shares for Ripple's stablecoin. And this can all be seen in the press release that was put out by Ripple, and it states it in this first paragraph that we got highlighted. So let's repeat this. BlackRock's build and VanEck's V-Bill, they exchange shares for Ripple stablecoin RLUSD. And I know the question you're already asking, Rip, is this on ETH or the XRP ledger? Well, as stated and confirmed by Brad and Monica, it is starting out on ETH. And yes, it 100% is coming over to the XRP ledger. If it uses the XRP ledger, it uses XRP. So why is this huge? Okay, because this stitches your TradeFi yield to on-chain liquidity without needling 12 middlemen and a week of settlement drag. You can now rotate your T-bill exposure into a stablecoin that can actually do things, right? It can market make, it can settle, it can post as collateral in crypto venues or route into DeFi strategies 24/7. You are no longer choosing between safe but slow or fast but wild. You are starting to blend everything in together. And yes, I know we're talking BlackRock a lot, but the VanEck part, your V-Bill, this matters. This is a big piece. This isn't a one-off. This is the pattern. If the bridge exists between two major tokenized treasury funds, well, the path is laid for the others to follow. And if the others see that BlackRock is involved, guess what they're going to do? They are going to follow. Plus, to top it all off, Securitize has announced plans to integrate with the XRP ledger, which if you're thinking a step ahead like me, we are inching towards native XRP ledger connectivity for these inflows. Rails first, then speed, folks. So let's recap this all. Robert Mitchell, Ripple's research brain, now BlackRock's head of digital assets. Okay, he helped BlackRock launch Build on Securitized Ethereum with full compliant rails. Build scales and then gets collateral acceptance. It has a grown-up milestone, 1 billion assets under management. It's absolutely massive. Cross-chain interoperability on many, many chains. Ripple plus Securitize now wire up a contract so both BlackRock's Build and VanEck's V-Bill holders can now swap into RLUSD. Securitize compliance stacks it and makes this all shippable. People, products, pipes, liquidities. Think about that for a second. That's the exact playbook. People, product, pipes, liquidity. If that just clicked and you want a real allocation, exit your routes without doing dumb stuff, folks, well, I think that's why you should be booking your one-on-one call with me. All these dots should have just connected for you. We went from Robbie Mitchell carrying Ripple DNA into Blackrock to Bill launching on securitized rails to real collateral acceptance, proving this stuff is no longer just hype, to Ripple's RLUSD bridging straight into tokenized treasuries and V-bills, all with Securitize's compliance backbone, making the whole thing actually shippable. Crypto's next chapter, it isn't coming. It is already here. And the question left is, are you positioned for it? I know I am, folks. Make sure you smash that like button on your way out, and that's going to do it for me.